Shabbat Shalom to everyone. Welcome to Temple Sinai. I am Lynn Weinstein, co-president, along with Betty Adams, and it's my honor on behalf of our Board of Trustees and our clergy to welcome everyone to Temple Sinai, just as our biblical ancestors welcomed everyone to their tent. You may hear a little more about that later during this Erev Shabbat service. So we welcome all of you who are here in our sanctuary and all of you who are joining us throughout our local community and across the country in virtual Temple Sinai. The service tonight will be led by our Rabbi Aviva Bass, and by Cantor Dan Geigerman, our cantorial student here at our congregation, accompanied by Dr. Dave McFarland on the keyboard. Again, we are thrilled to see all of you here at Temple Sinai and look forward to seeing more of you as our community and our world health improves. Enjoy our worship service. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Can you all hear me okay? Is this a good volume? Okay. Well, welcome everyone to Temple Sinai. This is our new members Shabbat. We have them periodically, and as such, Sue Wexler, who is our membership VP, is going to be lighting candles and speaking a little bit about membership in a little later in our service. But let's start with a song. This is one we don't do very often, and I appreciate the ability to go back and do many of these psalms that are the beginning of our Kabbalat Shabbat service, and Cantor Dan and I will be choosing different psalms to try different tunes. So page 131 is a beautiful setting of Shiru Ladonai, and I'm going to turn it over to Cantor Dan, who's going to teach this so that we can all participate in the singing of this new melody.
So when I sing something, you'll sing it after me. But when we get into the song, it's not echoed at all. You'll understand. Shirul Adonai,
Shirul Adonai,
Shir Chadash,
Shir Chadash,
Shirul Adonai,
Shirul Adonai,
Kol haaretz,
Kol haaretz,
Shirul Adonai,
Shirul Adonai,
Baruch Hu Shemo.
Baruch Hu Shemo.
Here we go. Basrum leyom Yeshuato. All together now. Shirul Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shirul Adonai, Kol haaretz, Shirul Adonai, Baruch Hu Shemo, Basru miyom leyom Yeshuato. Sapru v'goyim kevodo, v'chol ha'amim livnei otav, ki gadol Adonai u'mehulal meod, norahu al kol Elohim. Shirul Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shirul Adonai, Kol haaretz, Shirul Adonai, Baruch Hu Shemo, Basru miyom leyom Yeshuato.
Nice. And so now I'd like to invite Sue Wexler, our VP of membership, as well as one of our executive VPs, to light the candles in honor of our membership Shabbat. And we are on pages 120 to 121 for that bracha.
Can you hear me? Okay. O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
And now we continue with the Kiddush, pages 122 to 123.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lemahaseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'acharta, veltanu kidashta, mikol hamim, v'shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava uvratzon inchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. Very nice vintage of Manischewitz. We continue now on page 138 with the L'chadodi. And as is our usual minhag here, we will be singing verses 1, 2, 5, 9. And when we get to the final verse, verse 9, it is customary to rise and face the back of the congregation as we welcome in through the open door the Shabbat bride or queen into our midst. So we start on page 138, L'chadodi.
Yalla la 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 l'chadodi, yalla la 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 likrat kala, yalla la 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 b'nei Shabbat, b'nei Shabbat nekavela, yalla la 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 l'chadodi, yalla la 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 likrat kala, yalla la 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 b'nei Shabbat, b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, ishmi'anu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad, די די, יאללה לה 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 לך דודי, יאללה לה 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 לקראת כלה, יאללה לה 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 בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת, לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם נשוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. יאי די די, יאללה לה 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 לך דודי, יאללה לה 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 לקראת כלה, יאללה לה 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 בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה.
Let's skip to verse 9 as we
Not
rise.
התעוררי, כי בעורף קומי אורי, אורי אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. די די, יאללה לה 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 לך דודי, יאללה לה 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 לקראת כלה, יאללה לה 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 בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה. בואי בשלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, יאי די די, יאללה לה 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 לך דודי, יאללה לה 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 לקראת כלה, יאללה לה 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 בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה.
Please take a seat as we turn to page 140 for Tzadik Katamar, which is the indented paragraph in the Hebrew or the Hebrew transliteration. Page 140.
Tzadik Katamar yifrach, ke'erez balvanon yizken, shetzuri bebeit Adonai v'chatzrot Eloheinu ya'ar.
join together in the English at the very bottom of the page. The righteous bloom like a date palm. They thrive like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of Adonai, they flourish in the courts of our God. In old age, they still produce fruit. They are full of sap and freshness, attesting that Adonai is upright, my rock in whom there is no wrong. Those who are able to do so, please rise on page 146 for the Baruch, the call to worship.
Yai, dai, dai, yai, dai, 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 yai, dai, 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 yai, dai, 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 yai, dai, yai, dai, yai, dai, dai, dai.
Please take a seat. As we turn to page 148, and we prepare to sing the Ma'ariv Aravim prayer about God as creator of the darkness and the evening.
Dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night, roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night, Borei Yom V'Layla. Golel or mipnei choshech, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night, roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night.
If you look in the middle of that page, page 148, you'll see the Hebrew of what we were just singing, the Borei Yom V'Layla, Golel Or Mipnei Choshech V'Choshech Mipnei Or. And this particular setting of this piece, which we've sung a few times here by Katz, is aware of the fact that in the Hebrew, it says Borei Yom V'Layla, the creator of day and evening. Golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or is golel is actually rolling, and it's galilim are wheels So golel, the rolling of the light before the face of darkness, is really before darkness, in front of darkness, and choshech, the darkness, in front of the light. So it's this rolling, the idea of one day rolling into the next. And it's a beautiful, beautiful metaphor. So together we do the closing bracha here. Blessed are you on the bottom of the page. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. We turn the page to page 150, and we see the prayer Ahavat Olam. And we don't necessarily always think about this. The word ahava is, of course, love. But the word olam is used for both space and time. It is the world or the universe in space. And it's also eternity, foreverness, infinity. So it's both the space and time. And it's love of the world and love in eternity. So there's this eternal sense of God and of this love that's just available to us at all times. And for us as Jews, this shows itself in the covenant, in the brit between Jews and God with the Torah. So this is our opportunity to think not only of how God loves us individually, but also our love of God and love from God with the Torah and all of its wisdom. So together, let's read on the top of page 151 the interpretation, the interpretive translation of the Ahavat Olam. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Those who are able to do so, please rise as on page 152 we continue with the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please take a seat. Right before the service, I actually had the opportunity to have two theological discussions right before. And I don't really had that much time to talk right before the service, but it was wonderful, wonderful. I had one on the phone with a congregant and one in this room with a congregant, both of whom were talking to me about what or who or where God is. Where is God? And one of the responses to that by one of the Hasidic rabbis, the Menachem Mendel of Kotsk, says, where is God? Wherever you let God in. But one of my favorite thoughts about a connection with God as a singer, and probably Cantor Dan has thought of that about this as well, is through our breath, because we are breathed and ensouled at the same time by God. In the Hebrew, neshama, which is soul, and neshima, which is breath, are connected in the word, the actual word. And it's so wonderful that we are one of few creatures in this world who have the ability to take that breath and exhale on song, on melody. There are a few other creatures. I think I spoke about this in a sermon once last year, about which creatures. There's a toad, there's all sorts of, there are birds, of course, but other things as well. But that's one place where I feel God, is when we are breathed, and thank God that we don't have to be conscious of our breath all the time. And of course now, when we're thinking about COVID the last couple of years, people who are on ventilators, you know, when you can't take in the breath without real struggle, and many of you may have had the opportunity, the sad opportunity to have to deal with that in terms of bronchitis or pneumonia, and you know how hard that is. But to be able to just breathe effortlessly and be ensouled is one way I feel God with us. So we look at, on page 155, there's a translation, a poetic translation, an interpretation of the Ve'ahavta. And it says, love your God with every heartbeat and with every breath. And that's a place where I feel God. And I think sometimes, instead of saying where or what is God, maybe a better question is, when have you felt God? So as we read this together, think about a time when you have experienced the numinous, the spiritual, whether you call that God or not, just awe, that true awe. So let's read that together in the English on page 155. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested.
Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai your God. Adonai Elohechem Emet. Of course, we don't always feel that presence, that feeling of the greater than us. And the next prayer on page 160, the Hashkivenu, is really a cry out to God for comfort, for God's sheltering presence when the world seems dark. Literally, it's a prayer that we say at bedtime and in the Ma'ariv, the evening service every night. But it's also a prayer about, help me, God, when life seems dark, and help those around us when life seems dark for them. So let's keep that in mind on page 160 as we sing the Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai
from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Ashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim,
We rise now as on page 164 we begin the tefillah. And when we go into our silent meditation time, please be seated when you are finished with your own silent prayers. Page 164, we begin together the tefillah.
Adonai sifatai tivta uvi yagitei latecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, El Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham, Bezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atah Rav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach umorid hagashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Micha mocha bal gevurot, Umido melach, Melech memit umechayeh, Umatmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman nata lehachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahallelu chasela. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. ve'yon libi yehiyu liratzon imre fi ve'yon libi lefanecha Adonai Tzuri Adonai Tzuri ve'goali Adonai Tzuri Adonai Tzuri ve'goali Go inside your heart, just be. Go inside your heart and see what it wants, what it needs, what it yearns when you breathe. Go inside your heart and see. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be kind, be true. May they be acceptable to you, oh my rock, and my redeemer.
Trying to remove a mask with your microphone on is not easy. That was just beautiful. Thank you, both of you. Gorgeous. So I would like to invite Sue Wexler, one of our co-executive VPs, and our VP of membership to come up and to say a few words about Membership Shabbat and about our new members here tonight.
Hi, everybody. I was going to say, in case you don't already know me, but I think by now you probably know me. So here I am again. This happens to be one of my favorite Shabbat services. I love to welcome and honor our new members. It makes me really happy to see new faces around. And lately, it makes me really happy just to see faces. So this past year and a half have been really difficult times for all of us. There has been much sickness and sorrow, much loneliness and boredom, and too many missed occasions with friends and family. When we reopened Temple Sinai for Friday night services, it was like returning home. This is our home. We provide warmth, spirit, and inspiration. As each week goes by, we are increasing our activities. Bridge has reopened. Bingo will resume in another few weeks. Saturday Shabbat services will resume next week. Sundays at Sinai started their season last week, and Brotherhood and Sisterhood are having a joint ice cream social tomorrow night. So we're getting back there. We have 27 new members. 27 people have joined us since the beginning of summer, which is just a wonderful thing. I'm so sorry they couldn't all be here tonight, but some are on vacation. Unfortunately, 2 were sick and they needed company being sick, so 4 are out taking care of the one sick person. At any rate, I want to tell you that if you have not attended Saturday Shabbat services when we start up again next week, I invite you to give it a try. You're going to find it really spiritual, emotionally stirring, informative, and enjoyable. Rabbi Aviva will feed your mind and your soul, and you will also find it a great place to meet and get to know new friends. It's a very open, social time, and everybody's very friendly. It's a good place to meet people. On behalf of Temple Sinai Board of Trustees and the entire congregation, we are grateful to welcome our new members. I'm going to call your names. Please stand as I call your name, and I'm not quite sure how many people came. I saw some come in the door, so I don't know. I'm sure I have more names on this list than are here. At any rate, Victor Siegel, I know you're here. If you'll please stand. And I have my little candy stripers running around with some special gifts.
Messengers. Angels.
Okay. Rob Reich, I don't think you made it. Are you here? No? Okay. Marty Kaplan, I know you made it. If you would please stand. Here comes another candy striper. They're both wearing their Fitbits, so we thought this would be a very good exercise. Is Marsha Krupnikov here? No? No. Okay, Marsha and Alan didn't make it. Stanley Schenker, I know you're here somewhere. Hi. Standing back there. Okay, here comes Doreen. Jackie did not make it. Okay, classes must have held over late. Lila Broadman. Boy, are we going to be drinking a lot tonight. And Rita Johnson, no? Yes, oh, okay, Rita made it. Where's Lila, Rita? Okay. And I think that's all, but we have one very special and our newest member here with us tonight. I know he made it. That would be Cantor Dan. And I am more candy striker. Oh yeah, smell it.
There,
It's right out of the oven.
there goes my diet.
Welcome to all our new members. Please stay a little 2 minutes afterwards. I know we have no onig for you, but we can all talk. We do that even without eating. So try to meet everybody, and again, welcome.
So welcome to everyone, our longstanding members as well as our new members and guests. We're going to continue now with our Torah service, and when we get to it, when we get to the Aliyah, we're going to have a special one Aliyah, which will be just for our new members, but they will just stand from their own seats if they wish to do so to participate in that. We start our Torah service on page 362. And we rise as the ark is opened for the Torah service.
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai ve'ein kemasecha malechutecha malechut kol olamim umemshaltecha bechol dor v'hator Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai yimloch leolam vahed Adonai oz le'amo yitein Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom Ki mitzion tetzei Torah Ki mitzion tetzei Torah U'devar Adonai miYerushalayim Baruch shenatan Torah Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadlu Adonai iti, Unerom ema Shemo yachdav, Lecha Adonai hagidula v'hagivura v'hatiferet v'hanetzach v'hahod, ki chol hashamayim u'va'aretz, ki chol bashamayim va'aretz, lecha Adonai hamlacha, le'amid na'aseh le'chol le'rosh.
Please take a seat. Tonight we are this Shabbat on Parshat Vayera, and that starts in our Plaut commentary. If you wish to follow along on page 122, we're starting at the very beginning of this Parsha. This Parsha is most well known because of the Akedah, which of course we read during the High Holy Days and on Rosh Hashanah. But there's a lot that happens before the Akedah, which is just as dramatic, but in a different way. And this is a beautiful piece of the Parsha at the very beginning that I will be speaking about in a little bit. So page 122 is where we'll begin. And those who are new members, Ya'amdu, please stand up and join us, all the new members, if you're able to do so for this Aliyah. Or sit up a little higher in your seat if you're not able to stand. Okay, and together we say the bracha. Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach. Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'nata lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen.
Thank you. Amen. Vayera elav Adonai belonei mamre vehu Yoshve petach ha'ohel kechom hayom, vayisa einav vayar, vehinei shelosha anashim nitzavim alav vayar, Vayarot likratem mipachat ha'ohel v'yishtachu arza, vayomer Adonai imna matzatihen be'einecha, al na ta'avor me'al avdecha. Oh, I can't even read that. It's like this close to Yukachna me'at mayim verachzu raglechem V'hishta'anu tachat ha'etz, ve'echafat lechem, וסעדו ליבכם אחר תעבורו, כי על כן עברתם על עבדיכם, ויאמרו כן תעשה כאשר דיברת. Oh, yes.
A translation.
Thank you.
There you go.
And God appeared before him by the trees of Mamre. He was sitting at the entrance of the tent as the day grew hot. Looking up, he saw 3 men standing near him. As soon as he saw him, he ran from the entrance of the tent to greet them, and bowing to the ground, he said, "My lords, if you please, do not go past your servant. Let a little water be brought. Bathe your feet and recline under the tree. And let me fetch a morsel of bread, that you may be refreshed for yourself. Then go on, seeing that you have come your servant's way." They replied, "Do as you have said."
And now the closing bracha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. So I'd like to give a Misha Berach, a blessing, to those who are new members, including our new student cantor, Dan. Misha Berach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah. May the Holy One who blessed all our ancestors bless all of you who have come up today in honor of God, in honor of Torah, in honor of Shabbat, and in honor of your newfound membership in our community. May the Holy One of blessing grant us many more opportunities for simchas, times of rejoicing together in our community with you. May we all be granted good, long, healthy lives filled with joy and peace and love in our homes, and success in all of our labors, along with all of our friends and family, and along with the entire house of Israel. And let us all say, Amen.
Amen.
And a special Misha Berach for you, our student cantor Dan. Misha Berach, Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah. May the Holy One who blessed all our ancestors bless you with every inhalation that becomes exhalation on melody. May we be merited to hear this beauty of your voice and of your inner voice, not only the melody, but your heart song. May we hear it for years to come. May we be able to share Torah, not only for you to learn as a student, but for us all to learn from you as well. May you be sustained and strengthened as you go through this process of learning with us and with AJR. And let us all say, Amen, and Yisher Koach on your reading. Yisher Koach. Before we lift and tie our Torah scroll, we have a minhag, a custom here at Temple Sinai, that we have a blessing for healing, a Misha Berach for healing at this time. So I have here a list of those whom we know of who are in need of such healing that I am laying here on our sacred Torah scroll, and I will look at as we sing this Misha Berach for healing. But as I open my arms, if you have a name or names of those you are thinking of that are in need of healing, and you also who are joining us in worship from a distance through the internet, please say all of the names of those you are thinking of aloud at this time. Helene Grebler. So for all of those whom we have named, as well as all of those on our list, and all of those good people around the world in need of healing of body, of spirit, of mind, and of all three, we sing this healing Mishaberach.
Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
Now I'd like to call up our Hagba, Eric Adams, to come and lift our Torah scroll high in the air as we all rise, as the Torah scroll is lifted, and we sing V'zot HaTorah.
V'zot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai beyad Moshe.
Page 374, we return the Torah to the ark.
Eitz Chaim hi lemachazikim ba v'tom he'a me'ushar terachea narchei noam levon etichoteha shalom hashivinu Adonai elecha v'nashuva Chadesh Yameinu Chadesh Yameinu kekedem.
Thank you. Please be seated. As we just heard, this week's Torah portion begins with Abraham sitting in the opening of his tent, recovering from having just circumcised himself at the age of 99. We can just imagine how much pain he was in. We can only imagine how much pain he was in. And the Torah describes this event, in addition, taking place in the heat of the day, the hardest time to handle even without a wound healing. It is at that particular moment that three men, later identified as angels, approach his tent, his and Sarah's tent. They are weary travelers in need of food and rest, and despite his own physical discomfort, Abraham runs to greet the men and to welcome them into his home. In fact, no fewer than 5 verbs are used in the Hebrew text to describe Abraham running, rushing, and moving in great haste to accommodate his guests. Although they have servants in this household, Abraham and Sarah participate in preparation of the food and drink, offering a complete meal, a feast really, to these travelers. And it is from this Torah text and others that we derive the Jewish value, the mitzvah of hachnasat orchim, the welcoming of guests. In the Talmud, in Tractate Shabbat 127a, the rabbis discuss just how important the mitzvah of hospitality is. Rabbi Yochanan says, receiving guests is as great as rising early to attend the study hall. And Rav Dimi from Nehardea said, receiving guests is even greater than rising early to attend the study hall. Rav Yehuda says, in the name of Rav, receiving guests is greater than greeting the divine presence, God. So how Rav Yehuda comes to this conclusion is derived from this very story of Abraham and the 3 guests. When Abraham sees the men coming towards his tent, in some interpretations of the Hebrew, Abraham asks God to wait for him as he runs toward his guests. In other words, he's having a conversation or a meditation with God as he's sitting there recovering from this surgery, self-imposed surgery at this ripe age, and says, oh, wait a minute, to God, runs off and helps the strangers, welcomes them in, and feeds them this feast. And this is because the way that they derive this is because that the word Adonai, which is used in this very pasuk, in this verse, can mean Lord, my Lord, with a capital L, meaning God, or it can be a lowercase l like we used in Old English, like my Lord, my lady, my Lord, just with a lowercase l. There are no capitals or lowercases, of course, in the Hebrew, so we really don't know. And it's been interpreted both ways. So Abraham could have been talking to one of the travelers saying, oh, wait, I'm coming towards you, come on in, welcome. Or he could have been saying to God, wait a moment, I'm going to go and help these folks. So in other words, if Abraham asked God to wait for him as he runs to greet the travelers, the mitzvah of receiving guests must be greater than addressing God and finishing this conversation or prayer that he's having. Then this Talmud text goes further, as Rabbi Yehuda lists 6 mitzvot, which, while giving some reward in this world, have their true value in Olam Haba, the world to come, in our afterlife. And this includes receiving guests. In modern times, we cannot imagine most of us cannot imagine inviting unknown people into our homes without even an introduction or knowing they know somebody or something. We wouldn't just open our doors and welcome in people off the street, most of us, because we live in a state of fear most of the time. It's just simply too dangerous in our world to do so. However, our community home, i.e. the synagogue, can be the place in which we welcome people to worship, to learn, and to socialize. Our temple home is meant to encompass all three factors of a community: as a Beit Tefillah, a house of prayer, a Beit Midrash, a house of study, and a Beit Knesset, a house of assembly or place to socialize. Tonight, as we welcome new members into our Temple Sinai home, let us make sure that they have everything they need to feel that Temple Sinai is truly their home. Although circumstances unfortunately do not allow us to eat with our new members at an Oneg Shabbat at this time, we can still speak with them after the service, as Sue suggested, to find out about their interests and how we can accommodate them. To our longer standing members, I encourage you to find out, ask where these new members are living, and if you happen to live in the same or nearby community, perhaps you can offer to get together for a walk or an outdoor talk or coffee, whatever you feel comfortable. Many of us are not going indoors for such matters, but perhaps outside you can have a chat or a walk. And to our new members, I urge you to become involved fully in our various temple activities, in our worship, in our Torah study, and other adult education, such as Sundays at Sinai events, and in our brotherhood and sisterhood and other social events, like tomorrow night. I look forward to getting to know each of you and how Temple Sinai can best support you and your loved ones. And to all of us, I say, may we all be like Abraham and Sarah, opening our tent as wide as possible for all who seek our hospitality. May all who enter the synagogue find welcome, support, and friendship. And may we all recognize anyone who enters our tent as a potential angel in disguise. Shabbat Shalom.
Now, we don't hear a lot about angels in our canonical text, in our Tanakh, the Torah, the Ketuvim, and Nevi'im. They're only referred to as either malachim or here they don't even use that word. In this Torah portion, they use anashim, men.
Mm-hmm.
But we find out from the very beginning, the Lord appeared before Moses as these three angels. And we look to other texts, other later rabbinical sources, especially Kabbalistic texts, and we start to see how some of the names which you might attribute to the Christian archangels are actually based in Jewish texts, in rabbinic literature. And these are Michael, who is like God, Michamocha, who is like God. There's Gabriel, God's strength. There is Uriel, God's light. And then there is Raphael, God's healing. And they are surrounding God, but God also surrounds us, especially tonight on Shabbat, when the Shekhinah, the presence of God, is among us, and there is a marriage between the masculine and the feminine aspects of God on this beautiful night of Shabbat. And I thought, because of the Torah portion and because of us surrounding each other and our new members, that there is an excellent song that I would like to finish before we get to our closing prayers. And it's called The Angel's Blessing, written by Debbie Friedman. Oh, yeah. May our right hand bring us closer to our godliness. May our left hand give us strength to face each day. And before us may our vision light our path ahead. And behind us with me. All around us is Shekhinah. All around us is Shekhinah. That'll come back. Mi, Michael, u'mismoli Gabriel, u'milefanai Uriel, u'me'achorai Raphael. All around us is Shekhinah. All around us is Shekhinah. All around us is
Thank you. Before we continue with our concluding blessings, we have a few brief announcements as I invite Betty Adams, our co-president, to deliver them.
Fooled you. Can you all hear me? Oh, thank you, Rabbi, Cantor Dan, Dr. Dave, for this beautiful, beautiful service tonight. Tonight's Shabbat Shalom. My name is Betty Adams. I'm co-president of Temple Sinai, along with Lynn Weinstein. And tonight's Erev Shabbat service is sponsored by Shelley Kahn Teitelbaum in memory of her beloved brother, Carrie Weiner, Marcia Weber in memory of Murray Weber, Bonnie and James Hernan in memory of her beloved father, Jack Addis, Sheila and Bob Geller in honor of their 56th wedding anniversary. Happy anniversary. And Larry Lopater in honor of Donna Lopater's birthday. Happy birthday. And Jim Hurt in honor of the unending gratitude to the founders for this beautiful temple, for the inspired designers, and for the complete serenity upon opening the Ark. Thank you, Jim Hurt. It's wonderful. The following donations to the community food pantries are sponsored by Marcia Weber in memory of Murray Weber. The following donation. And our Saturday, October 23rd Shabbat Torah study is sponsored by Bonnie and James Hernan in memory of her beloved father, Jack Addis, Marilyn Heller in memory of her beloved mother, Celia Rittner, Pearl and Mark Vogel in memory of Miriam Perlman and Charles Vogel, Janet and Sheldon Thaler in gratitude for the privilege to lead the Torah study. Thank you, study buddies, she says. And we do have a couple of brief announcements. Tomorrow night, as you've been hearing, Brotherhood and Sisterhood are sponsoring a movie night and an ice cream social under the stars. The movie is not under the stars, but the ice cream social will be. And it's a movie, it's a little bit of an old movie, but I understand it's good. I've never seen it. It's called Keeping the Faith. So that ought to be fun. You can still sign up tonight, but this is your last chance. You can see Eric Adams and Jay Sweet after services at the Oneg that we're not having yet, but we will someday. And on last Sunday, we did have our first adult ed in person in quite a while. November 21st will be the next one, and it promises to be great. It's Dr. Marjorie Marcus, Murder and Mishigas. And if you look in the lobby, there is actually a reading list, a suggested reading list that you might want to go over and take some time and read a couple of the books on there because, and then sign up. You can sign up with Jane Brown tonight, or you can sign up anytime before November 21st. And also a reminder that the exhibit at the library that Temple Sinai is sponsoring, the Americans in the Holocaust at the Delray Beach Library, is still going on. There are programs, booklets in the lobby printed for you, so take advantage. It's on till November 17th. Shabbat Shalom.
Just a little bit of a further PR promotion for Sunday's event this Sunday at the library, Delray Beach Library. During this exhibit that is ongoing, there are many different programs, but this Sunday we have a presentation of a documentary about the Holocaust survivor band. Some of you may remember that Saul and Ruby came to us and performed in Finkelstein for Yom HaShoah a few years ago. And it was wonderful to have them perform here and to hear his story and to hear them actually in person playing in this band. But please come if you can on Sunday at 2 to see this documentary. It should be really interesting, and I believe that both of them will be on hand, I hope so, to meet them and to discuss with them as well. Okay, so let us continue with the concluding prayers of our service, and that would be on page 586 with the Aleinu. And we rise once more as the ark is open for the Aleinu, page 586.
It's up to us to own the vision. We are an answer to a call. It's up to us to live the words we speak for the benefit of all. It's up to us to bow down deeply. There's a broken world to raise. Aleinu leshabeach. It's time to live our praise. Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, lateit geula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kigoyei haratzot, velo samanu kemishnechot ha'adama.
Please be seated. It is hard to sing of oneness when the world is not complete, when those who once brought wholeness to our life have gone, and nothing but memory can fill the emptiness their passing leaves behind. But memory can tell us only what we were in company with those we loved. It cannot help us find what each of us alone must now become. Yet no one is alone. Those who live no more echo still within our thoughts and words, and what they did is part of what we have become. We do best homage to our dead when we live our lives more fully, even in the shadow of our loss. For each of our lives is worth the life of the whole world. In each one is the breath of the ultimate one. In affirming the one, we affirm the worth of each one, whose life now ended brought us closer to the source of life, in whose unity no one is alone and every life finds purpose. On this Shabbat, we recall these people whose yahrzeits, the anniversary of their deaths, are recalled at this time, and whose names are illuminated on the plaques surrounding the sanctuary. Howard Ira Aaron, Jack Attis, Randy Scott Baxt, Yetta Berg, Martin Berger, Samuel Chazen, Dolores Cohen, Mildred Edith Fisher, Morton Foreman, Kenneth Gitlin, Estelle Goldstein, Stephen Michael Gross, Dora C. Creamer, Sarah Levine, Cantor Abraham Musicant, Philip Reicher, Rose Reed, Charles Spiegel, Nathan Straum, Murray Weber, Molly Weinfeld, Aaron Weinstock, and Lillian H. Weiss. Others recalled at this time: Florence Bedrick, Cecile Gould, Ida Cowitz, Miriam Perlman, Celia Rittner, Samuel Solkoff, and Carrie Weiner. Others whose deaths are more recent in the 30 days since their funerals, the Shloshim period: Carl Love, George Greenberg, and Claire Michael. If you are thinking of someone whose name has not been mentioned, who has passed on, please indicate that you have a name to add, and I will call on you to say the name aloud. And those who are worshiping from a distance also, please say the names of those whom you are thinking of at this time. And so, with those people in mind, as well as thinking of those who were murdered in the Shoah, we rise in solidarity with mourners everywhere as we turn to page 598 and recite the Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah Ve'alma divarach Yerutei v'yamlich Malchutei V'chayechon u'v'yomechon U'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala u'v'zman kariv imru Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mevorach le'alam ul al me'almaya Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yit pa'ar v'yit romam v'yit naseh V'yit hadar, v'yit aleh, v'yit halal, shemei dekudusha, brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, da'amiran ba'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalom maraba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all who mourn among us. And let us all say, Amen.
Amen.
Please take a seat. You and I will change the world. Ani ve'ata nishaneh et ha'olam. Do we have a page number for this? 652?
Yeah, 652.
652. On page 652, please join us for our closing song, Ani ve'ata.
Ani ve'ata neshaneh et ha'olam. לפניי לא משנה, אני ואתה נשנה את העולם. אני ואתה ננסה מההתחלה, יהיה לנו רע, אין דבר זה לא נורא. אמרו את זה קודם לפניי, זה לא משנה, אני ואתה נשנה את העולם.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.